What's up, y'all? Talon here. Today we're back with another series of high-level rank battles featuring top teams in the Regulation H metagame. Today we have a team that was able to take 3rd place overall in the first Regulation H tournament, or the first official tournament, the Baltimore Regionals by Toler Webb. That was a team created by him, Yotam Cohen, and then Christopher Hahn, who also got, I think, 5th place overall at the tournament, taking the first seed. Flamigo was definitely the standout on the team, or at least I think everyone was aware of Incineroar, Ursaluna, Porygon2, Amoonguss, and Gholdengo did some grassroots tournaments before the event, but Flamigo was definitely the breakout 6 Pokemon that covered a lot of the matchups that the team was struggling with before. Definitely an impressive performance on stream, and one of the standout unexpected Pokemon coming into the tour overall. So, going to be taking it on the ranked battle ladder today. If you want to use the team for yourself, I have the rental code in the top right of the video and the EV spreads in a Pokepaste for use on Pokemon Showdown below. The team was created by Sarah, a Japanese player who also has a YouTube channel. I'll have their Twitter linked in the description below. Definitely go check them out. They do share a lot of these sort of teams. These are team recreations, so definitely appreciate them as a resource. Give them a follow there. If you enjoy these type of videos, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let me know what other teams you want to see featured on the channel. Helps out a ton, and with all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of this team now. So the central core of this team is Porygon2, Ursaluna, Incineroar, and Amoonguss. That is the clearest Trick Room mode you might ever see. It's very bulky Trick Room setter, 2 Pokemon to make sure the Trick Room get up, in the Incineroar and the Amoonguss that can pivot in and out to one another pretty well. Incineroar able to go for fake outs, parting shots, and then any damage it takes can be pollen puffed up back later in the battle by the Amoonguss, and then any damage the Amoonguss takes can be healed by a Regenerator, switching in and out, so that's very much appreciated. This is all to the end of getting the Ursaluna in pretty cleanly, so that you don't take much damage, if any, due to the parting shot just being a slow pivot move. You can go for the parting shot as you set up Trick Room, have the Incineroar move last, parting shot into Ursa, get the Flame Orb active, and then get your Guts ability activated, giving you a 1.5 damage multiplier to all your physical damage, and getting your Facades up to a 140 base power, which is doing even crazier damage when you go for Terra Normal, which is meant to offset any Intimidate cycling from opposing Incineroar. It has a very, very good chance to 1-hit KO most Incineroar, even at -1 with the Terra Normal, so that's a cool innovation there. You also have Terra Blast fighting on the Porygon2. This is a strong defensive and offensive typing against Kingambit, able to resist its dark type moves, which can otherwise be a bit of a problem for the team if they are a safety goggles Kingambit, so that's a cool tech there. Beyond that, we have Gholdengo as a secondary mode on the team, where if you don't think the Ursaluna Trick Room mode is especially strong, you can use the same components of Incineroar and Amoonguss to protect the Gholdengo as it goes for nasty plots. You have a Terra Dragon defensively, and offensively you have Life Orb to boost up the power of your Shadow Balls and Make It Rains. Then lastly, the last Pokemon on the team is Flamigo. Can integrate to the Trick Room mode or the Gholdengo mode, but mainly it's there to outspeed and 1-hit KO opposing Gholdengo, which can be kind of tricky to deal with when you have Spore Amoonguss and Fake Out Incineroar. You can't stop opposing Gholdengos that well, so having a Pokemon like Flamigo that can outspeed it, knock out most of them with Close Combat, unless they are not a Tera Steel. Gholdengo, if they are, you can just knock them out with Scrappy, whether they have gone for the Terastallization or not, because Scrappy allows fighting type moves and normal type moves, but fighting more relevant here, to ignore the ghost typing and just hit steel type normally. So really cool Pokemon. You also have Brave Bird to handle things like opposing Amoonguss or Rillaboom, which can kind of be a little bit annoying for Ursaluna. The Rillaboom rather just being a bit annoying because they can go for Grassy Glides in the Trick Room and deal a lot of damage to you. You can knock that out before Trick Room starts with the Brave Bird. You also do a lot to opposing Amoonguss, which can be kind of problematic for Porygon2. The rest of your team does pretty well into it, but it's definitely not negligible into the P2. Wide Guard's a cool tech against opposing Psychic spamming teams, spread type spamming teams, namely like Armarouge and Indeedee, or Indeedee Hatterene, or even a Typhlosion, Hisui, Choice Specs Eruption. Just having a Pokemon like Flamigo in the back that can threaten Wide Guard is really important to limit their game plans against you. Overall, it's a very cool team, very stable it feels like, where at least 5 of the Pokemon, I don't know if Flamigo is here to stick around, but we're enjoying it while it's here, but I do feel like the Ursaluna, Porygon2, probably the Incineroar, Gholdengo, Amoonguss will stick around. I'm not certain about Gholdengo, but this core for the Trick Room mode is definitely going to be a strong composition in the metagame for a long time to come. So if you enjoy these type of breakdowns on the teams, please subscribe to the channel. Helps out a ton, and yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the battles on Battle Stadium now. Our opponent has a very threatening team. They have Typhlosion, Whimsicott, Tauros, Ursaluna, Kingambit, and Maushold. A lot of potential taunt users, so that's a bit scary. Gholdengo is kind of tempting, but the problem is if they go for a early Like if we lead like Flamigo plus that, it's not great. I think I might just lead with the Flamigo and Porygon2. It's a little weird leading such a fast Pokemon with the Trick Room, but I think it might work out for us here fine. I don't want to lead the Incineroar just because King Gambit could be a bit of a problem. And I think Toler and friends were like Tera Water on the Amoonguss and not Tera Psychic like we are on this team recreation to handle Typhlosion a little bit better, but we are Tera Psychic. Unfortunately, we'll see if we can use that okay, but yeah, I think I'm mainly using it just as a defensive piece more than anything, rather than something that can, like Pollen Puff is going to be valuable into our Ursaluna and Porygon2, so that'll give us turns to attack instead of having to play defensively. Safety Goggles on Mousehold is something I'm a little bit scared about. Mousehold, Friend Guard plus Ursaluna Assault Vest is a set that's running on best of one ladder a little bit, so I have to be wary of that, but I do think Earthquake Ursaluna should cover that okay, as well as Amoonguss, honestly. Typhlosion, Whimsicott, fair enough, so I can Wide Guard that. They can Tera Fire, attack me, which is a little annoying. Get a special attack raise, which is very nice. I'm going to go Wide Guard Trick Room. And if they go for Encore, that's annoying, but fine. We'll see what they lock into here. Maybe they're Charcoal and they don't lock into anything, but I doubt it. Usually it is Choice Specs on this team or Choice Scarf. Or not this team, but this sort of composition of team. What I'm worried about with the Whimsicott and why I'm going so defensive this turn is I expect a Terastallization into Fire type to boost up their damage output and an Eruption plus Sunny Day with the Prankster Whimsicott. Without Wide Guard, I can't really stop that, and the best I could do is get some damage off into the Typhlosion. If they go Terrifier, Sunny Day, Overheat or something, they will probably knock me out, but unfortunately that is a risk I have to take. Definitely a problem for this team, in my opinion, is this Typhlosion. Like, I was playing against Toler and them on ladder a little bit coming into the tour, and I do know that they were struggling a little bit with Typhlosion, plus specifically Final Gambit Annihilate, which can pretty much just knock out anything on their team. We go for Wide Guard, we'll see what they go for. I'm hoping for Sunny Day Eruption, but there's no guarantees, obviously. Sunny Day Overheat would be very high commitment, but definitely their best play here. Eruption is exactly what we wanted to see, so we can just go for another Wide Guard next turn, and they can't stop that very easily. What they can try and do is Encore my Porygon2, which is a very common option on Whimsicott teams to handle Trick Room teams. It will effectively slow me down, but it won't do much beyond that. So I could go for a Tera here and just go for Brave Bird to knock out their Typhlosion. I guess my worry is if they are not Choice Specs, or if they're not Timid Typhlosion, I'll actually outspeed them and then I won't get the Brave Bird off first. So they'd hit my most likely going to be an Ursaluna switch in for full damage, which I really don't want. So we're going to switch out, fearing their Encore, which would really just get rid of all the hard work we've gone for and put us in a bad spot next turn. So Typhlosion switches out, they acknowledge, I think that's pretty much confirmation to me that they are choiced of some sort. Unfortunately, Tauros comes in, they're going to activate. Hey, that's a little annoying. Scrappy, fortunately they don't lower our attack, but they do, or they lower our attack, but you know, Wide Guard. So Brave Bird would have been a lot better there. We would have knocked out the Tauros, but it is what it is. Didn't want to take a huge risk there. They Encore, so we're covered. I think what I like here is, honestly, Double Switch isn't crazy here, I think. I feel like Tauros goes down to a Terra Normal Facade, so I might just go for that. And switch out into Amoonguss to apply Spore Pressure. Unless they're very bulky on the Tauros, like this knocks out even Incineroar with like max HP and a fair amount of bulk investment, so I do feel like Tauros should be a knockout unless they're Focus Sash, which typically the Amoonguss are. But if they're Terra Ghost, well, that would be another story, and Close Combat's going to do a hefty number to us, if not a knockout. But this is the value of the Terra Normal set. It is able to offset the Intimidates a little bit better than the other sets, which are maybe Terra Ghost, able to ignore Fake Out. Okay, Protect on the Tauros is a bit annoying, but fine. It is what it is. Yeah, that's definitely annoying, because I felt like they were on the offensive there. They go for Moonblast into the Amoonguss, so we cover that pretty well. Have to be mindful of Trick Room turns though. Do they have any switch-ins to Facade? I don't think so still. If they have Tera Steel, that'd be annoying. But I can Rage Powder around that. They switch into King Gambit, that'd be a little tight. Let's get the Porygon back in, I want to say. And go for Facade, just take our KO. I could Clear Smog the Whimsicott too. Yeah, let's just go for the knockout. If I had Facaded the Whimsicott, that would have been a great spot, but unfortunately they made a solid Protect there. That is the thing about this team, it typically doesn't actually win in one Trick Room like most of the more offensive Trick Room turns. Trick Room teams do. You're trying to win over multiple Trick Rooms with very bulky pivoting Pokemon. So out into King Gambit. I could have gone for Headlong Rush, but I wasn't sure that would knock out, and I didn't want to lower my defenses. King Gambit isn't going to love taking this, and now they are definitely, regardless of Tera, in range of close combat, so that's fine. Like, in fact, it's not... Yeah, we have a Tera Fighting KO into that. That's okay. So they are threatening a lot of damage here, but... Like, they're probably Assault Vest. We can maybe take a double KO into the Whimsicott here if we want to. The question is, do I want to? It's possible. I've already Terra'd, actually. That's kind of bad for me, no? I guess it's fine because I can go into Flamigo and Earthquake. Another synergy of the team. We do have the Flying type Flamigo. There's not a lot of Flying types natively, or that are particularly strong in this meta, so you don't have a lot of great Earthquake partners, but Ursaluna, one of them. They are switching out into a Pokemon, which is interesting. I would have thought the, that Mon would have stayed in, but that's fine. Unfortunately, they'll probably threaten a 2-hit KO with us with a Sucker Punch now, but that's fine. We'll see what they go for. Earthquake, I think that's definitely going to KO the King Gambit still. We are -2, but yeah, that is super effective, and we are an Ursaluna. We crit, but yeah, it shouldn't have mattered. So I guess that's a situation where I should have just known my calcs on the Tauros, because if I can just go for a Headlong Rush that previous turn, then I knock out the that Pokemon, and I probably just pick off the Whimsicott or Typhlosion slot for free, but not what happens. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. I actually want to just go for a Detect and Swap here, and not... Like, this is pretty aggressive. I might just want to go for an attack into the Tauros and take the damage, but if they double into my Flamigo, that's pretty dangerous, and it's pretty unlikely they switch this turn, because they finally get the driver's seat back. They go for Tailwind, which is interesting. I guess they thought that they would underspeed the Flamigo, which is fine. The close combat is totally okay. We're pretty bulky on this guy, and I don't think they have taunt at this point. So we can pretty freely Spore the Tauros slot, I want to say. Do I need Ursaluna to win this game? Potentially, yeah. Should I just give it up? Maybe. I think if I Spore the Tauros, it's fine? Will I lose if I Spore? If there's safety goggles, do I lose is the question. I think potentially... Like, there's definitely a world where I lose. So I'm actually going to switch into the Ursaluna here. It might look a little odd here, but I think it's done the damage it needs to. They'll probably Wave Crash me, which is annoying, but okay. But I need Porygon2 to get in cleanly to set up Trick Room. Okay, they protect the Tauros, which is interesting for sure, because now I can just protect the Ursaluna slot, even though they go for Moonblast. That's fine. I'm pretty sure they are not, of concern. So at this point now we should just go for a probably Facade into the Whimsicott and Spore. I could Spore the Whimsicott too. Yeah, they really gave me a gap there. Like, I could have switched into Porygon2 and been in excellent shape. But yeah, they also just give me that there. That's fine. So now we should be able to just go into Porygon2 and Trick Room, Clear Smog into the Whimsicott and be fine. Close combat, sure. As long as they're not goggles, we're chilling here. They're doing a lot of damage with close combat in aggregate, but it is what it is. Okay, they were not safety goggles, which is exactly what we were hoping for, but yeah, these are the sort of slower paced tactical games that you do end up going through with this sort of team. I'm going to go into Porygon2 here. I still have a Pokemon to switch out to for Encore, so I am in fine shape. Yeah. Special attack. They have already gone for a Tera Steelization. I can go for Trick Room plus maybe switch out is correct. I'm not sure. I could Spore the Tauros, and that's pretty safe. But I think I'm just going to chip the Whimsicott and take the free damage. I think as long as I get a special attack raise to end the game, I should beat the Tauros 1v1. We'll see if the Whimsicott is... I guess we won't, because Clear Smog won't knock them out. I think on the original team it is Sludge Bomb, Pollen Puff. So that would knock out the Whimsicott if they're Covert Cloak, but not the case here. We are Clear Smog to cover Dondozo a little bit better. They don't switch, which is I think their actual win condition there, was to get the Typhlosion there and basically threaten either Encore onto Whimsicott or Porygon2. And if I get it wrong, I could lose the game right there. But now we should kind of just win with Terra Blast Porygon2 in the late game. So unfortunately, we cannot Rage Powder away the Whimsicott's damage, which is obviously not ideal. I think I'm just going to knock out the Whimsicott's Encore pressure here. Between Clear Smog and Pollen Puff, if they switch in the Typhlosion, Pollen Puff will do a little bit more. It'd be a great play if they switched out the Whimsicott, but I think, based on how they played the games thus far, I think Encore is a lot more likely of a play. Yeah, they don't even go for it, which is interesting. So now I should have Spore onto their Typhlosion pretty safely, and if they don't wake up on the Tauros, that'll probably just be GG. Okay, they do, fair enough. Close Combat is not what they want though. Wow, still almost 2 at KOs. Flamigo is not known for its bulk, that's for sure. But they might be getting in range of me just knocking them out with a Clear Smog, truthfully. I have already burned my Tera. Yeah, I'm just going to Close Combat the Typhlosion and Spore it. I think they're a very, very likely Safety Goggle, or Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, and not Safety Goggles if they are. Very well played. They protect the Tauros, which is, I think, a mistake. Yeah, I guess they're maybe adamant on the Tauros, so they would have outsped the Flamigo. That's why they kept setting up Tailwind, but there's definitely some wasted turns on their Whimsicott going for those Tailwinds, I think. Unless they... yeah. Okay, we just crit the Typhlosion. That'll be GG then. I think we would have just followed up with Sporing the Typhlosion and... or Sporing the Tauros and then KOing next turn, but yeah. There's a lot that could have gone wrong there. I didn't get the Ursaluna quite in as safely as I wanted to, and I wasted turns into the Tauros. A little bit more consistent of a win would have just been finding a way to get the... basically just get the Ursaluna in and start attacking the Pokemon that most likely cannot protect. I'm going to Clear Smog the Tauros just because why not? Going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, it's now in range of any attack from either the Amoonguss or the... okay, yeah, we were underspeeding. They were max speed Tauros, so they never had to set up Tailwind. Most likely, so good game to them, but yeah, I think there's a pretty good example of just the Flamigo covering up one of the harder matches of the team, Typhlosion. You could see even in Trick Room, I was still scrambling to get the Ursaluna in and make the most use of Trick Room turns before it came back out. And I wasn't able to do it as satisfactory as I wanted to. Like, I think there was definitely openings that they could have exploited, but they were pretty hard to find, which is kind of the idea with the team, is just to consistently play a solid, slow-paced game and then force your opponent to outplay you over a series of many turns instead of like more volatile, shorter games where if you miss one read, you can lose. But with this team, you can kind of miss a couple. As long as you're playing a strong neutral game throughout the whole battle, you should be fine and close it out in the end. Okay, my opponent Nate here has a what looks to be a Perish Trap team. They have potentially 3 Fake Out users with the Incineroar, Rillaboom, and the Gothitelle, a Shadow Tag user with the Gothitelle, and a likely Parasong user on the Primarina. They also have a Trick Room mode with the Goth, Fergraph, and the Torkoal, so a lot to manage here. I think Terra Ghost Flamigo is actually pretty excellent overall. as is Gholdengo. If I had Taunt somewhere, I would probably use that as well. Maybe I just go for that, honestly. Tera Dragon actually looks very good on the Gholdengo, so I'm going to go for that. Just fake out lead. I can go for Parting Shot to get out of there on lead. I think Amoonguss with Tera Psychic unfortunately is not ideal. Like Tera Fire would be really good against the Torkoal, but not the case. I think Flamigo with Tera Ghost could be solid. And then Spore on Primarina could be cool. Spore on all their Pokemon would be fine, I guess, but maybe Wide Guard Spore could be a solid option. Flamigo would be pretty interesting here. Flamigo Ursaluna. I'm actually getting major deja vu. I feel like I've played this exact matchup before in a past regulation. Interesting. I think if I can just Wide Guard in front of that, that's cool, but maybe I just end up outside a Trick Room and try and beat there. Oh, I am Tera Stellar Flamigo. That's a huge error I just made. On the original team by Toler and Yotem and Chris, it is Tera Ghost Flamigo to mainly navigate around Fake Out, but another benefit is being able to switch out a Shadow Tag after you've gone for the Tera. We're Tera Stellar, so we'll be able to easily knock out Incineroar and Rillaboom with Tera Stellar Close Combat and Brave Bird, but we won't be able to switch out a Perish Trap, which was kind of what I was hinging a bit of my matchup on. We'll see. Definitely going to be a tricky one. I think seeing who moves first this battle is going to be pretty important between our Fake Out users as well. Really the Incineroar. Like if we are the faster Intimidate here on the Incin, we're in such good spot. I know they ran pretty quick on the original team. They're faster. That's quite bad. Well, actually it's not too bad. Because I can still just go for Fake Out onto their Incin, and if they're not Tera Ghost, we should be chilling there. If they are, whoopsie, that could be bad. Could go for Tera Dragon, but I think preserving the Fairy Tera is good here. So if they weren't, I could maybe just go for a Parting Shot into the Rillaboom, but yeah, we'll see. Interesting. Protect on the Incins, quite interesting, that's for sure. Double Protect when you have Fake Out active. They are the Perish Master here, but typically that is not super conventional. So I'm going to get a free Nasty Plot here. And maybe just knock them out next turn. They could have Haze as well. I kind of just want a Parting Shot. How fast is this Incineroar? They won't be able to Fake Out me ever. Oh, I'm min speed. Yeah, that was never going to work. Okay, good to know. Flamigo I want to get in cleanly, so I think I will just go for a Parting Shot into the Incin and Protect here. If they're Haze, they're Haze. That's fine. They got me. Should I give them that? Or could I go for a Tera here? I don't want to get Gothlock, but I can never get Perished, so it's kind of fine, right? I'm going to play a little more aggressively. They did just double protect. I'm a +2 Gholdengo with Life Orb, and I have not revealed my Tera yet. They'd have to Moonblast Knockoff to cover for this play well. And even if they do, I'm doing a lot of damage. Everything's going to be in range of Brave Bird from then on, so I think it's a fine trade. And that's worst case, right? Make It Rain going first, predictably, does a lot to the Primarina, not a knockout, but should put it in Citrus Berry range if it is that set. And now the Incineroar should be in range of subsequent damage. They were the Citrus Berry set, but couldn't really cover that because we could have knocked off, but not great. Knock off into our Gholdengo, so the damage output is limited, but it did so little because they're a very defensive one. Ooh, Moonblast, great play. Alright, really good play. That's frustrating, for sure. Yeah, they nailed that read. Yeah, I would have lived the knockout, I'm pretty sure, or the knockoff, so that's just an example of if I were a faster Incineroar, I could have Parting Shotted and then kept my Tera. But yeah, really good play there. Super aggressive. Might have to do with them knowing the team a little bit better, but you know, can't say for sure. Can't say for sure. Burning the Tera is pretty bad because now I don't have a Tera Stellar option, unfortunately. I think Close Combat is still a pretty solid lock. Onto Incineroar though. Yeah, but the double protects are going to be kind of tenuous now. Brave Bird should knock out the Primarina. I could Earthquake. I think I'm going to go for a Facade into the Incin and a Brave Bird into them as well. There's still a way to win this. But yeah, losing, I could have played that conservatively. As was my inclination, but I thought they weren't likely to make such a hard read, and they did. Props to them. Now I'm in a pretty bad position if they are Tera Steel on Primarina. Based on their team, I'd expect it to be Terra Grass so they don't just lose to Amoonguss in Trick Room, but it's possible they're not. Close Combat should be a KO on the Incineroar slot, so I expect them to switch it, or something like that. They could also Will-O-Wisp, I don't know. Yeah, they do switch, so. I thought Rillaboom was a reasonable switch in here, so I went for Facade. It is Gothitelle. They're trying to tank a Close Combat. They're refreshing Fake Out, all that good stuff. They are going for a Terra. If it's Tera Steel, that's bad. Pretty sure I won't knock them out. Oh, and they'll knock me out with Moonblast. Oh my goodness, yeah. Really well played. With Rillaboom in the back, I think I'll just lose now. I had to Close Combat them, or maybe even Protect, but I was worried about them pivoting Fake Out in. Oh, we don't knock out. Yeah, good game. Could have Earthquaked there. Flip Turn. Okay, that actually gives us an out, I think. Potentially. Wow, okay. Wasn't expecting that. Flip Turn Moonblast. That's an interesting set for sure. So they can live this hit. Unfortunately, Scrappy is not in our focus, but we can knock out the Incineroar with reasonable likelihood now. Boom, big hit. Earthquake would have been great there. Oh my goodness, okay. Are they leftovers or a Figgy Berry? Okay, that's fine. So Earthquake is pretty free now. I do have another Pokemon left, right? I have Incineroar, so the game isn't over yet. I have that for their Rillaboom. Let's just go Earthquake and Brave Bird, I want to say, is solid enough. They're not going to set up Trick Room here, I think. They can Foul Play my Ursaluna, which will do a lot, but it's not boosted by Guts, so I don't think it'll KO. If I get this Earthquake off, I think I'll win with probably... Is there any reason not to just Earthquake Protect here? I don't really think so. Because if they give me Trick Room, I should just win with the Ursa in the back. So I'm actually not going to play aggressive. They might just Fake Out the Ursa, which would be a great play, I guess. But yeah, they don't. They go after the Flamigo. I was kind of trying to cover for them having Psychic here, which is possible. They end up going for Trick Room, it looks like, because the Ursaluna moves first, unless they're just like super slow. Which would be fair, but yeah, Earthquake's going to be a double knockout here, so I feel pretty good about that. I don't think they were ever really going to get a Trick Room out of that turn. I think they have to go for Foul Play or Psychic, or maybe even Hypnosis on my Flamigo. I don't think they that was their play, necessarily. So we've seen Protect, Flip Turn, Moonblast. I think that probably leads Torkoal. Okay, it was a Trick Room strategy they were going for. I wonder, I think if they had set that up earlier, I would have fallen for it for sure, but yeah, I was trying to cover Perish Trap a little bit more, and they brought this option, which is fine, but really doesn't cover this option especially well. Let me check my speed just to verify that they're not going to be a max speed Torkoal and mess me up. Okay, they could be. I guess if Moonblast is a KO, they can win, but I doubt it. Let's just go Headlong Rush and Brave Bird or Close Combat. I guess Brave Bird is better, it's fine. Yeah, they cancel out. Torkoal almost certainly min speed, yeah. So they did kind of get the jump on us on lead, but we did enough damage with the Make It Rain, so it was fine. So my instinct was correct, where even if we get the read wrong, we still have the offense we need to basically win the game, because they don't have the Trick Room pieces they need in just yet to be able to either set up the Perish option or set up the Trick Room option. And even if they had, we still had Wide Guard as a Hail Mary. If they go for Eruption instead of a Weather Ball under the Ursaluna, we probably can just clean the game up with Earthquake later on. So good game to them. Pretty interesting Perish Trap team that I think we had pretty great tools to deal with, unfortunately for them, but they made an excellent read turn 2 to give themselves an out. Alright, my opponent has their own Flamigo. Unfortunately, I believe it is of the Co-Star Muk variety that they're going for here. I don't think Scrappy ignores evasion boosts, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely not. We have Clear Smog, though. That's very, very, very useful in these sort of battles. I'm going to lead that, I think, with the Gholdengo. I should just be able to Rage Powder any damage from the Muk if they go for knockoff or something like that, so that's fine. I don't have Taunt anywhere, unfortunately, but it is what it is. If we can stop them from boosting up, we should be cool. I do have to be conscious of the Flamigo because they can close combat my Gholdengo, which is part of why I'm leading this guy. I don't love the Flamigo, pretty much regardless of what they go for, unfortunately. Let's go Flamigo as a potential mix-up, or at least a speed tie into them. Maybe we go for the Porygon2 as well, just to deal with the Flamigo. And then should we go Ursa or Incineroar? I think we're a little bit weak to Rillaboom potentially, as well as opposing Incineroar. Oh, we're really weak to opposing Incin. Yeah, that's bad. Let's go Amoonguss, Porygon2. Well, I wanted Porygon2 over Incin, but unfortunately timed out. I didn't unclick the Incineroar. Could be good though. But I do think Flamigo was correct, otherwise I'll probably just lose to the Incineroar, so I needed to cover for that. Like, their potential alternative, if they're Co-Star, they can't hit the Gholdengo though, so that's something I have to figure out pretty early. We'll be able to figure it out by switching in the Incineroar to see if they get dropped by Intimidate, because if they don't, then they're Co-Star and they can't hit Gholdengo. Okay, it was Incineroar, so glad that we have the Flamigo here. Ooh, that is not what I expected. They move first, which is annoying. If they're Tera Ghost, for sure that could be bad. Yikes, okay. Not a huge fan of that. Not a huge fan of that at all. I can fake out, but if they're Tera Ghost, that might just be my main offensive option that I lose turn 1, which I do not love. So let's just go knock off into the Incin, I think, or Parting Shot rather. Should cover for pretty much everything. Could knock off the Muk too, which would be fun. Yeah, that's probably better. Min speed Incineroars I am not a fan of. I like at least being able to like potentially be faster on lead, because we see that being slower here means we can't fake out, we can't guarantee or like force them to go for a fake out. I don't know. They protect the Muk, so knockoff would have been ineffective there. I wonder if they don't have knockoff. I think that was a good opportunity to go for it. But there's the knock on their end. Does a fair bit to the Incineroar or the Amoonguss, but not a whole lot. They're now at -2. We get the Flamigo in, and we'll be able to Spore their Muk. And probably force a Tera on the Incineroar, which is ideal. So we do lose a bit of defensive positioning there, where maybe we could have fake outed the Incineroar and gone for a nasty plot and then just like knocked it off next turn or something, or Parting Shotted next turn, but I feel fine about this. This should be a free Spore. If they have a potential switch in, I wouldn't really say so. Like, it could be Goggles on the bird, which would be annoying, I guess, but eh. If it is, that's fine. If they're Co-Starred, they won't be setting up their Muk, which is the ideal. Okay, no switch. They live on the Incineroar, which is very, very unlikely, but they're probably going to Flare Blitz anyway, so I guess it's fine. Taunt. Okay, fair enough. We do... yeah, that's fine, because we have Clear Smog. That's what we're going for next turn anyways. Sure, we just need to hit one Clear Smog. Yeah, that's annoying though, for sure. As long as it doesn't get moody, we're fine. Clear Smog, Brave Bird should be good, or no, actually there's no reason to go for that, because that's breaking our Focus Sash for no reason. They're switching out. We're not going to give them the Smeargle if we can avoid it, because we don't want to give them Moody. Because once they get that, oh no, that's not revealing no Flamigo, but it is revealing no Smeargle or Flamigo, which is valuable. We could have Brave Birded for a knockout, but Close Combat is doing so much damage we don't really mind missing the KO there, because we have a free switch to Incin next turn. Substitute, okay, very, very smart. I think we should be able to pivot around that fine. We do actually hit, okay. Not gonna get rid of their stuff there, but yeah, they could have subbed a previous turn. Fake Out is active, of course, but that is fine. Gonna be a slow-paced battle here, but I think we should be okay. As long as we don't get knocked off on the Gholdengo. Like, Pollen Puff I think is gonna be enough here. If we can just intimidate them through that substitute, they'll never really be able to knock out our Amoonguss, which is good. So that is a-okay with me. They've already knocked off. I think I'm just going to go into the Gholdengo. I could parting shot through that, so it should be okay. And then just go for detect, I guess. Because I don't want to take a hefty fake out into Grassy Glide, which maybe with a knockoff or another poison move could knock me out. I want to have that covered, basically. The Incineroar living on 1 is annoying. That's just another fake out cycle that they get this battle. But we are just switching this in here. I think if we can get the Muk low on HP, it's fine. Yeah, they go for knockoff with Muk or Rillaboom. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they went for knockoff there. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's not awful, but I don't think that's correct. So very, very inaccurate on our parting shot coming up here, most likely. They're healing, but I think we will, like if it comes down to this, I will just fast forward the battle and show you how you're supposed to play this in the late game, but yeah. I don't think parting shot is like a 100% accurate move, right? Accuracy is 100, which means I'm at 66% accuracy right now, which is low, but not 0. I think going for this is fine. I could fake out the Rillaboom, actually. Let's go for that. It's just so unlikely I actually connect a hit here. Okay, they're going to switch out, so if this is Incineroar, we'll knock them out with fake out, and if it's anything else, we'll knock them out. I guess giving them Moody is like something. Okay, yeah, we do actually get them Moody here. At least they're not going to be able to fake out cycle, which is fine. So we kind of give them what they want in terms of the Moody pass, but they need attack boost to be able to do anything with it, and eventually we'll be able to lock a Spore combo onto it and then just Clear Smog it away. So yeah, there is the power of Alchemy, which is what the Muk strategy is aiming to do. Just give it a big old boost there. So it's doing a lot of damage, so I think because of all the close combats I've gone for, they will knock out my Rillaboom at this point, or they would knock me out with Rillaboom. But I can always just Flare Blitz that. Attack raising sharply is actually not what we wanted to see. It's like the one thing we didn't want to see. But I think because we have Amoonguss, I don't think they can out-damage us to the point where as long as we don't lose a key Pokemon here, they can win. And I think we've done sufficient damage with the rest that we should be okay to make this happen. Well, I don't know. Could we lose the Scrappy guy? Maybe, maybe not. I think we're fine. Flare Blitz into the Incineroar and Protect should be sufficient. Yeah, at this point it's just a numbers game, like stalling out the turns. It's probably going to be a little bit boring, but if you yourself have ever played this and lost and just gotten really frustrated, I'll show you how to beat it here. They switch out the Incineroar because, yeah, you know, I could close combat that. I could go for a Protect here, but as long as I Flare Blitz this slot, I'm only -1 attack on the Incineroar. If they'd gone for Parting Shot there, they would have maybe lived the Flare Blitz, but now there's no chance. Yeah, they're pretty fast on the Muk. I mean, the Incineroar is just super slow, but yeah. At this point, we just have to not let our Amoonguss get hit, and then we should beat them pretty easily. Yep, we knock out the Rillaboom there. They're like very near. They're probably pretty defensive on the Incineroar to live the close combat in the first place, but yeah, we should be good now. I think the only way I lose this game is if I sack my Amoonguss to something. Them being behind a sub is pretty annoying, but they should only have knockoff. Maybe Toxic, but we can always just Pollen Puff ourselves. Boom, Scrappy. Okay. They don't have attack raises, which are good, which means we can go for a Flare Blitz and a Brave Bird. We're going for Brave Bird, not close combat, because at this point it's just better in terms of damage output. Yeah, it does a lot of damage. They will knock out our Flamigo, but I think that's way, way more important than risking... like the way we lose this game is if we risk one of our Pokemon and we're able to not switch around our Amoonguss to get Regenerator HP. If we're able to not, like, if we can stop that, then we win pretty much. So now we kind of just start eating up at your time. The grassy terrain is going to help us a little bit in that regard. But if we ever break their sub and hit a clear smog, we win. So they were on the ball there getting the clear smog off, but it's fine. Special attack raise is ideal. At least in past generations, Moody would potentially drop that stat, but not the case here. Maybe I should have gone to the Gholdengo there. Maybe not. Because we're moving second, I think we are in a decent spot here. Okay, drop defense means we can just go for Flare Blitz plus a Clear Smog here, and if we double connect, we are big chilling. I don't remember if it's like a half chance on minimize or not. They're moving first, they're going for a Terastallization. What do you, Tera Steel? To block the Smog? That'd be funny. Tear Water. Okay, so I can go for knockoffs in subsequent turns. It's a little annoying because Make It Rain is going to be a little, like, we have to go for Shadow Ball, which is weaker in power. Knockoff going to be big damage here. Yeah, not a whole lot. And we're moving second, which means we can... Yeah, I guess the fear is we'll lose this somehow, but if they're not going for Toxic... Oh, we hit the Clear Smog. That's not really what we wanted to hit, but it's fine. So now they've hit two... Or they've been hit twice on this guy. Oh god, the special defense boosts are annoying, but the attack raises are favorable for us. At this point, we have the time advantage. We just have to stall the battle out. There's really no way for them to outdamage us in terms of time, as long as we don't... Like, even if we switch into the Gholdengo, we have Pollen Puff on our Incineroar, so if they, like, Toxic us or something silly like that, we're chilling. So basically the purpose of that whole sequence was just to get the Gholdengo in kind of safely, basically just force them to keep knocking off the Amoonguss slot, leave the Incineroar basically being useless to eventually get it in safely, and then be able to go for a Dragon Tera so that I'm not weak to a knockoff anymore, to where even basically a crit knockoff would knock me off. So now, even though I'm not really going to be doing much damage, yeah, Shadow Ball, they're I think +6 on the Muk is going to be enough to take it. Now 3 minutes are remaining, we have 3 Pokemon, and even 3 crits is not going to be enough to knock out our Pokemon, especially with a resistant Incineroar in the back. I wonder if they had Toxic, they could have maybe stalled out the Incineroar, or forced me to switch out for Pollen Puff a little more predictably, but yeah, not going to be the case. Yeah, so they finally call it. I think the Moody Muk strategy for that reason is really just not effective, especially in a metagame with a lot of haze strategies and clear smog, just general options to deal with Dondozo and other setup sweepers. Having a setup sweeper that takes like 20 turns to knock you out is generally not super advisable, even if you can actually set it up and deal with all the opposing Pokemon, basically the opponent's counterplay. If they're able to deal with like literally like the Psych Up user or the Co-Star user in the Flamigo, like maybe an Espeon that's trying to copy you with Psych Up or something, like the Muk is never going to be enough to clean it up. And if you have that back Pokemon, you basically have Smeargle and then what other, like Incineroar or another Pokemon, and that's just like a really linear game plan to cover, so not typically going to be effective. Kind of just a waste of you and your opponent's time if you both know what you're doing. So yeah, that ends up being how it works. Basically you just try to not give them any knockouts, make sure you're able to, if you have an Amoonguss, just be able to switch it in and out. Typically, if they are a Toxic knockoff non-substitute Gholdengo, you can just eventually clear smog them. If they, even if they Toxic your Incineroar, you can Pollen Puff, start parting shotting yourself if you really need to just like stall turns out and not hit into the minimized Muk and take more Toxic Chip. But generally, yeah, you just need to keep Pollen Puffing yourself up, never get your Amoonguss in range of a knockoff crit, and just keep switching it in and out for Regenerator HP, and eventually you will win on time. So that's going to do it for Battles Today featuring this Flamigo, Ursaluna, Porygon2 team. I do feel like teams like this are going to continue being popular in the metagame. This team is not, of course, an exact recreation of Toler Webb's third place team at the regional. However, it is pretty darn close, so thank you to Sarah. I have their Twitter account linked in the description below. They also have a YouTube channel. Check them out if you want to use the team on Battle Stadium. The rental code is, of course, in the top right of the video, along with the PokePaste featuring the EV spreads for the team if you want to try it on Pokemon Showdown or recreate it or a similar team in-game yourself. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let me know which team you want to see next on the Battle Stadium ladder. Hope y'all enjoyed, of course, and yeah, peace y'all.